All right, everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the check-in into the chat if you guys wouldn't mind checking in for us. If you don't know me, my name's Kelsey. I work for the Maker City and the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center, and I am over communications over there. And so if you've gotten an email from me, we've probably talked before, but yeah, I'll add my contact in the chat as well. If you guys have any questions after this of how to be more involved in the Maker City or KZ, I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have. So like I said, I have the check-in over in the chat if you guys wouldn't mind filling that out for me.
What would you like to see in there? Just our name or name and organization?
So if you follow this link, does everyone see the Typeform link that I added?
Oh,
Yeah, so if you answered those questions for me, and it's just a couple quick questions. And then we have one more link that we want to share with you guys. So the Mayor's Maker Council put together a survey. Basically, in council meetings, we're talking about space and specifically maker spaces in Knoxville. What their affordability is, if they are accessible. And so we're trying to learn more about space in our community. So we do have a survey that we would love for you guys to fill out. If you do have time to do that, we'd really appreciate it. Just as we continue these conversations of trying to make sure that everyone that is needing space in Knoxville just learns more resources about availability there. And just so you know, the next Maker City event, we have 3 taxes workshops that are coming up February 5th and 6th. So if you are nervous about taxes, have any questions about taxes, we actually have 3 different workshops, one in the morning, one around lunchtime, and one in the early afternoon. They're all different topics. You can register for all of them or just one of them, and I'm going to throw that in the chat as well. Here we go.
I hate tax season.
Terrible. All right. And I think I'm good on my end, so I will just go ahead and hand it over to Josh. So Josh, take it away.
Okie dokie, yay. So everybody can see my screen? Yes?
yes.
So my name's Josh. I'm the owner of the Bath Lab. I started this in 2017 whenever I was living in Southern Indiana. I actually started it just for fun with some friends. We had margaritas one night and then we were like, let's make bath bombs. So we did. And then it just quickly turned into a fun little business. I started with Etsy, did that for a little while, and then slowly moved into my own website and everything and started doing wholesale and doing some more markets and everything. And now I'm back in Knoxville now. Yeah, so my first market was at a nursing home. I made $60.11 and I was like, I'm the coolest person ever. I'm going to become rich now. I'm going to do these markets all the time and it's going to be wonderful. And then I quickly learned, oh, that is nothing compared to what I should be making at some markets and stuff. But it was still a lot of fun. And that kind of, I was like, oh, markets are cool. I want to start doing these more. In 2021, I decided, I was like, I'm tired of working in corporate and everything. And I was like, I'm ready to do this all full time now. So I went through a really big rebrand of the company and just kind of figured out what is my brand identity and, who am I as a maker? Who is the Bath Lab? Where do I want to see it going? And had a really great designer. Nope, Arlo Guthrie. Sorry, I do have a dog down there that's going to play with toys the whole time, probably. Yeah, so I went through kind of a rebrand just to kind of figure out where I wanted to see it and kind of grow from there. And I'm now sold in over 100 stores across the US, and I've got 3 or 4 in the UK as well. So it's a busy little thing now. But yeah, so we're gonna cover kind of planning the market season. Arlo Guthrie, shush it. We're gonna plan our market season, kind of setting your goals and everything. A lot of my big thing is I like to take notes on all of my markets, on how they went, just so I can look back at them whenever I want to reapply for next year and everything like that. And then my really big thing is just like, I love telling people, like, just stay true to yourself with your brand, find your brand voice and everything and kind of just roll with that. So we will hop on into it. And then if anybody has questions, just let me know. So planning the market season, the Makers City actually has a really great resource. They've got the calendar online that you can actually see all of the upcoming markets and stuff that are there. I believe they've got open applications usually show on there. So you can easily go click on all of that to kind of see what you want to do. I know the Old City Market just opened up their applications for the springtime. So that's on there. So if you want to apply for that, that's always a great one. And then what else we got? Planning inventory is such a big one for me. With my stuff, it's all not necessarily perishable stuff, but it needs to be used within a few weeks or months. So trying to figure out how many markets. We're gonna take this toy from my child real quick. Go find a different toy, child. You're fine.
Talking to his husband.
Planning inventory is like, I have a love-hate relationship with it because obviously you need inventory to sell everything, but it's one of those things that depending on what you make, you don't know what you're going to need to really take. What I like to do before I sign up for a market is I will go there as a customer a few times just to see what type of makers are there. And I'll even talk to the other makers and see, what are people interested in? What is everybody purchasing? And kind of go from there. So like with my stuff, come here, child. You're just gonna, yep. No, you're good. You'll just sit right here for a moment. You're good. Sorry, my cute little child just now made me lose my train of thought for a second. Any doozles. If you don't have the inventory, you're not going to sell it. So I like to make sure that I have plenty for the booth. We do bath bombs, candles, and everything like that. So I like to always have a minimum quantity of each scent in stock, like at all times. That will vary kind of depending on what type of show it is. So like Old City Market, I may make sure I have like 8 of each scent. And then the Retropolitan Market, I may up that to 1 to 2 dozen per thing. Just depending on the customer base and how crazy it's going to be there. Seasonal stuff is a really big one that I love doing seasonal markets, but I don't love making seasonal products because I can only use them during that allotted time. So I don't take a ton of seasonal stuff to markets right now. I do with my seasonal stuff, I do it as a pre-buy on my website. So I'll make one of that product for my photos and everything, and I'll post it and I'll be like, hey, here's the pre-buy for it. Order it now, and then it ships, or you can pick it up in a month or two whenever that season is kind of ready. So that's what I like to do personally with seasonal stuff. But everybody's kind of different. And then pricing is always a big one too. I know whenever I first started, I was like, oh, I don't want to, charge this and like take somebody's money. But then I was like, you know what? I'm blowing money at Target and Starbucks all the time. They have no issue taking my money. So just kind of staying strong with your pricing and everything and figuring out how to price everything is a big one. The way I price is I figure out my material cost and then my labor, what I want to make from it. And then I multiply that by 2 to give me kind of my retail cost. And that usually works for me, but that's one of those things I feel like everybody just has to kind of sit down and figure out on your own what you want, how much are you wanting to bring in from all of this. For me too, this started as just a for fun business. And then I was like, oh, this pays my mortgage now. So I have to make sure that I can, pay. No, Mr. Sir, you're just chilling. You're just chilling. No, you're just chilling for a second. You're just chilling for a second. You're gonna say hi to everybody. Say hi. There you go. Quit being a turd. You're fine. So just making sure that you price everything to where you're going to make a profit, and to where, at the end of the day, you're like, oh yeah, this was worth it for me. It's such a big one. I feel like I've had so many people like, I don't know what to charge. And I like sit down with every single one of your products and figure out how long does it take you to make it. I've even, with my stuff, I will literally set a timer and figure out, okay, I'm gonna start this from measuring out my ingredients to making it, and then cleaning up. Okay. Oh, I know. Okay, you can go to your brother. Okay, good Lord. Don't ever get a dog, people. They're terrible. Yeah, so like really sit down and figure out how much time are you spending on these products. Because it could be a beautiful product and it could be great, but if you're spending, several hours on it, at the end of the day, is it profiting you to have said product? I can only speak for, the bath and body kind of product industry because that's what I am in. But, I feel like, the crochet stuff or stained glass, those things I feel like take time. It's like, that's a beautiful piece. Make sure you charge what it, is worth to make it worth your time and everything. So yeah, that's kind of my little gist with inventory and kind of planning. And then setting goals is a really big one for me. I do monthly goals for like how much I want to make monthly between my wholesale accounts, website, markets, and everything like that. And for a while, I was just like, oh, if I make money at a market, I make money at a market. It's free money at the end of the day is what I would always tell myself. But then I finally was like, okay, like I've got to set a goal and kind of stick with it. And it's just, figure out what that is for you. Do you want to make your booth fee plus a little bit more? Do you want to make, your booth fee plus, your Mexican food afterwards and your margaritas that you're going to go get? And that, that can change, I think, too, depending on the time of the season. Right now, like January, February is kind of the slower months. So obviously I'm not going to expect to make what I would make during, a big, busy summer market. So just kind of figuring out your time of year and children, are you all done? No? Okay, cool. My children are just going to kill each other, but it's fine. But yeah, so just kind of figuring out your goal for it and everything. And then with that, are your products, again, priced according to where you're going to reach that goal? How many of each product are you going to have to sell to make that goal? That's one thing that I've seen a lot of people do where they'll just kind of bring a little bit of everything. And they're like, I want to make, thousands of dollars. And it's like, okay, do you have, $1,000 worth of product there? So making sure that that goes in with the whole planning the inventory, making sure you have enough stuff there to where you're going to be able to realistically reach those goals. Bring in inventory, all of that. A POS system, I feel like is a really big thing. If you don't already have that, pen and paper works great, obviously, but you've got Square, Shopify, Wix, PayPal. Oh, my children are just destroying the house right now. That is cool. Trazodone is not working on you all tonight. Love that. Edgar Allen, come here. Come here real quick. No? Okay, cool. Yeah, so look into a good service system if you don't already have one. I would definitely recommend it. I think most of them are free and then they just have their transaction fees and everything. But it is, I think, worth it at the end of the day. For a while, I did, just with pen and paper, but then I'm trying to keep track of that pen and paper. And as you can tell with my dogs, my life is already crazy. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to keep track of that. So I invested in, I think I started with Square, and it was great because then, you can look back at all of your reports and stuff from months past. If you're going to do, say you did the Old City Market April of last year, you can look and see, okay, that's how much I did. So I want to do, around that this year as well. So that's one thing that I do too with all of my markets is I will constantly look back and see what I did last year. And I'll actually make a note of it so that I can hopefully, you want to do more, than that each following year. Yeah, so Target doesn't give discounts, so why should you? I do one discount in my booth, and it is my bath bombs are $6 each, or you can get 4 for $20. That is the only discount I will do. Don't ask me for a cheaper candle. Don't ask me for a cheaper body scrub. You're not going to Target or Walmart or Marshalls and asking them for that. And it took me years to kind of I feel like build that thick skin of being like, no, it's okay. Like, I just busted my butt for this. I want to be, rewarded for it. Take pride in your work. Like, not everybody can do what you do. And, I think people should appreciate that. It's difficult to, I think, say no to a discount or whatever because you're like you want to get that sell. But I think at the end of the day, if you kind of explain to people, because I've explained to them, I'm like, unfortunately, that's going to cut into my money at the end of the day. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And then they'll still usually end up purchasing something. So that's the big thing. And I'd say like it took me like probably 2+ years of being like, oh, maybe will you buy one more thing and then I'll give you a discount. And kind of you have to do that like hassle and everything for a little bit. But then I finally was like, you know what? No, like the more discounts I do, the less I'm going to bring home at the end of the day. And then I'm not going to be happy. And then we go into the day of market and the actual like market setup and everything. And I put some checklists together that I believe should be somewhere. I don't know. There's should be somewhere. I sent them in. So I've got some checklists and everything that you guys will be able to have access to. And I've got one for pre-market and then for the market day, because there are countless times that I will forget something. So that checklist is just really good to kind of go through and see what all I need to take for the market. I also, with doing a market, I am a big fan of loading my car the day before. I do not load my car the day of anymore because I'm like, nope, that just adds so much more stress, I feel like, to your actual market day. So just spend that evening, an hour or so, just load your car before, load your car up with gas too. That's a fun one that I have forgotten to do multiple times. And then the car's like ding. And I'm like, well, we are loaded right now and we are not making any additional turns that we don't have to because everything's going to just yeet. Don't get discouraged if somebody else gets more sales than you. That is another really big one too. I think we all kind of have that imposter syndrome, or we're all like, I want to be like that person. And I noticed I would do it at markets for the longest time, and I would be like, oh, that pottery person just sold out of all their mugs that are $40 or whatever. And I'm like, why the heck am I not selling out? And because nobody's like, I'm not making coffee mugs. I'm sure if I was making that, I could have sold more. And just telling yourself, like, we are all completely different, art mediums. Even with other candle makers and bath bomb makers, we are all still so different in our branding and our products and the scent variety that we have. So I really I try, and it's hard to get out of your head, but I tell people, like, just don't get discouraged. Stay positive, because one day you're gonna sell out, and people are gonna look at you and be like, oh, I wish I got that. So just try to stay positive. I know like the days are long. The weather is not always great because we are in Tennessee, and sometimes we get blizzards in the middle of January. And that can always kind of add to our, grumpiness basically of it. So then it's like, if we're not getting sales, then we're like, oh, well, this was just a terrible day. So try to stay positive as much as you can, even though it is easier said than done. Every booth is different, every maker is different. So yeah, don't compare yourself. And smile, be inviting into your booth. If you're on your phone, you're not making money. And I love shopping at markets, but if somebody's on their phone, I'm usually not going to stop in their booth. Hey, Edgar Allen, come here, bro. Edgar. Oh, are we good now? We got that out of your system? Okay, cool. Cool. But yeah, just make your booth as inviting as possible. I did not put a ton in here for booth setups, just because everybody's so different in our setup and what works for us. But I'm a big fan of Pinterest, and I do recommend everybody kind of check out just some booth layouts and stuff like that to really make your booth as inviting as possible. Sometimes it's easy to make your booth almost like closed off to the customer, but you have, all your comfy space in the back to hang out. Which I have done that too. I'm like, oh, I've got all this space where I'm just going to chill all day. But then I'm like, oh, no, because now the customer can't comfortably come in and shop and everything. Edgar Allen, you're all good. You are all good. You are okay. Yep. You come back up here, bro. Okay. Yep. Yes, you are all good, baby. You are all good. Yep. So customers more likely to shop in a, friendly, welcoming booth. I put rubber ducks all over my booth. If anybody knows my booth, you probably know it for the jumbo rubber ducks, my rubber duck adoption center that we have. And just little things like that are, I feel like, what really kind of, they add your personal touch with your branding and everything. But then they make it to where people are like, oh yeah, I want to go check out, what they have in there. That looks like a fun time. Stay true to yourself. Find your brand identity and stick with it. I think it's really hard to kind of just see what's trending right now on Instagram and TikTok and everything, and being like, well, I'm going to make a product that, matches that's, trending. I'm going to make Taylor Swift everything right now because Taylor Swift is our Lord and Savior. You might make some money off of it, but how long is that trend going to last? And then you could get stuck with all of that, Taylor Swift stuff. And I've been tempted to, I was like, I could make a little Taylor Swift collection, but I'm like, no, that's not really my brand. I don't want to piggyback off of, that trend and everything. I want to still stay true to my products and my philosophy and everything. So yeah, and what do you love about your small business? And is that showing and shining through in, your personality? Even but Edgar Allen, you are good. I'm holding it. You are too big for me to hold. You are too big. Yep, go play with your toy over there, Bubba. Yes, in just a little bit we will play. Yep, just a little bit we will play. Oh my God. Never getting them again. I'm getting a goldfish next. But what do you love about your small business? And is that, like I said, is that shining through in everything that you do? For me, I love just the smiles and everything that I see whenever people look at my products. Everything has some sort of fun name with my stuff. I have Lumberjack Daddy and Cute Butt. Trying to think of what else we have. We have Smells Gay and just all these really fun things, because that is very much like my personality, is just that fun, bubbly, crazy personality. And I love getting to share that with other people. And I love when people, they come into my booth and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, yeah, like this is amazing. And just create that entire experience and kind of figure out what can you do to create that experience. Because at the end of the day, markets and stuff you're a mini store for, 6 to 8 hours. And, if you go into Glitterville or, some of these shops, like it's, an experience. They've created their merchandise layouts and stuff to make you want to hang out in their areas. We have to figure out how to do that in a 10 by 10 space. So it takes some time, but it is definitely something that I really encourage people to just really take your time figuring out all of those little things with that. So post-market recap. So this is another sheet that will hopefully be available to you all somewhere. But it basically is just a quick little rundown of how did your market go? With my stuff, I'll put, how is the customer base today? Was it college students? Was it, older people? Was it kids? Was there a holiday right now? A football game? Anything like that? What was going on? I might get a little OCD with some of my notes and stuff that I take, but I want to be able to look back, next year and see, okay, this was good, but we had, this going on in Knoxville as well. So there were more people coming in town for that. So that's a big one, is just kind of figuring out all of that and just taking notes of, if it's notable, I will note it. I will note the weather. I will note where my booth space was and everything. And I'll even sometimes put how many vendors were there, how many similar vendors were there as well. And then I'll even try to figure out a estimated number of attendees that were there, which I would say most markets, the market manager and stuff, I know Amy at Old City is really good at it, going through, and they'll usually actually try to count how many people are coming in every hour. So most markets can give you a rough estimate of what they have coming in, which is always, I think, really helpful to kind of know, because then you can kind of figure out what percentage of people are shopping with you, and just what percentage of people really are shopping total. So yeah, so there's several ways to keep track of everything. You can do an Excel sheet, in a journal. You can even put it as a calendar on your phone. So I usually will go and put the market obviously on my calendar, and just go in there real quick too and add a note. You could do that throughout the market as well. And that's really a great way too, because then next year you can go back and look at your calendar and kind of see everything. And so it's a great way. Notes in your phone too. Yeah. Wow, beautiful. Oh, wow, look at that. I'm so tech savvy. So those QR codes right there, if you actually scan those QR codes, it will take you to the market checklist and then also the recap list as well. God, wow, I totally forgot that I did that. That just made me so happy, y'all. So the market checklist is just kind of it's like everything that we do here, what we'll pack, but then also there's some other added things. And then there's spots for you to add in stuff as well. A big thing I also recommend, like with packing for a market, is create a market bag. I have a big old like duffel bag, and it's my market bag. It keeps duct tape and scissors and ibuprofen, and I keep flip-flops in there, and I think I even keep a change of clothes in there usually. And that does not get unloaded. It gets restocked with stuff. I'll usually go through it like every few markets just to see what all is still in there, see how many cookies are in there that are moldy that I've gotten and not ate. But I definitely recommend creating your own kind of personal like backpack, basically, that is just for your markets and everything. It's so easy. And I even keep my my price sheets and stuff stay in it. That way everything's there and I know I just got to grab that bag and then I've got 90% of what I need. The other stuff I just have to remember is the tent stuff and the actual product, which I have forgotten the product before. So that's fun. Oh my gosh, wow, guys, we totally just crushed it. Cool. I thought I had more slides, but I guess not. But yeah, so really the big thing is just finding your identity is the big thing that I really push. Not to brag, but like people are always like, oh my God, like your branding and everything is so on point. And I tell people, I'm like, well, I spent a crap ton of money to get my branding and everything to where it is, but it has definitely paid off in the end. So, you know, from my logo and everything, like figure out all of that, figure out how you want your booth to look, do your products and everything. Does everything match? Make everything as cohesive as possible. And enjoy what you do. Like, can I cuss on here? Can I say badass? I'm saying it. You're a badass. Not everybody can create stuff. I can't do pottery. I've tried, can't do it. Can't crochet. I can make bath bombs and candles, and that is it. Anything else? No. So like love what you do. Don't get defeated. We all survived COVID, barely, but we survived the blizzard as well. So if we can do all of that, then we can crush market season, y'all. So there we go. Questions, comments, concerns? Does anybody want a dog? He's almost 2. He wakes up at 3 a.m. every day.
I was just gonna say that you mentioned the checklist and the market review list, and also along with these slides, we'll send out any resources that Josh wants to share to you guys after this. It'll probably be either tomorrow or Friday that you guys will get that in your inbox.
Yeah. I've got a hand, and I'll send them out of booth layout examples. There's a really popular one that I found on TikTok was like the diagram or whatever. So I'll send all of that because I do think that like if you really invest time in your booth layout, like it will end up paying off in the end. So I'll make sure to send all of that fun stuff over.
And we have plenty of time for questions. So if you guys want to drop any questions in the chat for Josh, we can answer those. Or if you guys want to unmute yourself, usually it works out better if you just drop something in the chat instead of people kind of fighting over the airwaves. But yeah, plenty of time for questions.
Ask away. If I don't know the answer, I will make it up and I will make it very believable for you. You're okay. You're a-okay. What show will I be at next? I have no clue. No, Punk Rock in Murfreesboro, 420 is my next one. That's the other thing too. Don't be afraid to apply for a market that you may not necessarily think is your vibe. I signed up two or 3 years ago for punk rock in Knoxville, and signed up. I got on the wait list, found out the week of that I got in, somebody dropped out, and I was like, I don't know, because punk rock and like big colorful bath bomb stuff doesn't seem to really be okay. Go. Doesn't really seem to mesh fully, and it is now my number one market. I sell out at every single one that I go to. And I did it just because I was like, I don't have anything else going on. So I did it. And now I was like, oh yeah, this is a super great market now. So don't be afraid to try out for something that you may be like, oh, I don't know if it's for me. I would still give it a go. I like to do, I call it my 3 market rule. I will try every market at least 3 times. The first time is to like test the waters and see like, okay, like, is this cool for me? The second time, children, you all are insane, insane, but I love you all dearly. The second time shows the customers that go there quite often like, oh, hey, they were there last time. So you kind of create your brand awareness. And then the third time, I call it my make or break time. And the third time is like, okay, I'm either going to do great or if I don't. If I don't do great, then this market's not for me. If I do well at this market, then I'll, do it a 4th time, a 5th time and everything. That doesn't obviously work out all the time to do it, 3 times, but if you're able to, that's kind of what I like to do. How early do you need to typically apply and cost of market? Market costs, they're all very different. I want to say right now, I feel like the average market in Knoxville is $45 maybe. I think Old City is 40 maybe. I feel like 40-45 is kind of where it's all. And then like Retropolitan is a little bit more. And then punk rock is $90 or $95. So scoping out the markets and stuff, I do try to figure out my ideal demographic. My ideal is kind of the very downtown vibe, is kind of my customer base. So anything downtown is what I like to scope out. I've done South Knoxville a handful of times. Somehow South Knoxville is not my demographic. Any market I've done in South Knoxville, I've not done well at. So I don't do South Knox. It's great for some people, and then others it's not, so great. And I'm one of those that it's not so great for. What kind of insurance? I don't even know who my insurance is through right now because I own another business as well. So the insurance is all grouped into something. But that is one big thing to look at because some bigger markets especially do require insurance. So make sure you've got all of that. 50% of sales. I would say my income and stuff is for markets is probably 20%. Now it's mostly we do wholesale now is where I really try to drive my energy and everything. And then right now I only do 1, sometimes 2 markets a month. And that doesn't work for everybody. That has worked for me. I want to turn my branding more into a kind of exclusive, pop-up style to where it's like, oh, the Bath Lab's there. I want to go check them out. I've not seen them in a month. So it makes you more popular in my mind, in my delusional mind. Yeah, like I said, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work, but
Got another one. Do you also set up at local events?
As far as like fall festivals and stuff like that, I do not. Um, I don't do that. I don't do anything at the Expo Center anymore either. Just because for me, they're not worth it. Um, so no, I do not. Yeah, so I like to market everything on Instagram, obviously Instagram and Facebook. I do TikTok. I don't market my markets on TikTok because most of my TikTok followers are not in Knoxville. So I'm like, well, I don't think they're going to care about the Old City Market or anything. But I usually, once I get accepted into a market and stuff, I will go to make sure I have the graphics for it, or I do kind of have my own kind of themed graphics that I do as well to match my branding that I'll throw the market information into. And then the first of every month, I sit down and schedule out my entire month of social media. So if I have markets and stuff, I will go ahead and start advertising those. And I'll try to do usually the first of the month. I'll see, do I have anything this month or next month? And I'll go ahead and put a highlight reel together of all of those upcoming events as well.
Aaliyah asked if there's a list of markets. The Maker City does try to get that list together. It's actually pretty much like me and some other people that search for markets on Instagram, Facebook. I literally like Google to try to find out. We have a form online. So really it's kind of like word of mouth and just trying to research. But we put that out every month on social media and I update. We have a markets page. Actually, earlier in the chat, I put that in the link for that markets page. And so for February, we'll be putting that list out on Friday for markets that are coming up in February. So we try to get that at the beginning of the month if we can. But also, if you guys know of other markets, please let us know. We're always just trying to share the word about what's going on.
There's with that too, there's also several group chats throughout everywhere. There's some great ones like on Instagram and everything. If you want to message me, I'm always happy to add people. But that's also a great place to find more markets. It's just through a lot of these groups and just talking to other makers to kind of see what's going on. Because I feel like we constantly have markets popping up everywhere.
Looks like we have another one. And what about seasonal markets? Are there some you have to commit to the entire season?
I don't know if there are or not really. I don't, I mean, I know there's stuff in Gatlinburg that does some seasonal stuff, but those are like several weekends long. I don't go out there because I hate traffic, but there is Buc-ee's out there now, so I might suck it up and go so I can go to Buc-ee's. But most seasonal stuff, if it is like multiple show dates, you do sign up for, unless they specify you're signing up just for like this Friday and Saturday, or you're signing up for Saturday, Sunday, then you're usually signing up for the entire kind of run of the show. Unless, like I said, unless they specify differently.
Great. Do you guys have any other questions? Still got a little bit more time left. Any tips for preparing for the weather?
Fry. So that the weather is obviously always so iffy here. If it rains, you can almost recommend or know that like I will be canceling because my bath products are water activated. And I'm not about to give y'all a free bubble bath downtown. No. I will charge everybody for it. But preparing for weather really just make sure you have everything for your tent to where you can, survive basically like a little rainstorm. Most markets, I feel like if it starts to thunder, they cancel. Usually rain they'll usually still go through. So yeah, just make sure you have your tent wall. Like invest in a good tent setup. My very first tent was one that like you had to snap every single little pole in place, and I was like, no, I don't have time for that. And it broke like the first little wind gust that went through. So then I bought like a $400 tent, and it lasted until the end of last year. So definitely like invest in a really good setup to where, you know, you're not gonna be worried about anything getting damaged in the weather.
We have, do you recommend a space you look for at the market?
Really, you're good. As far as looking for a market, like what area to look for a markets in, or
Sorry, do you want to unmute? Say that.
Like a specific location within that market? Do you like to
hang
be
on,
at the beginning, in
redo
the
it,
middle, or
redo it,
the end?
redo it. You just came out of unmute halfway through it.
Like, do you
Sure.
like to be at the beginning or the middle or the end? Have you
For like the booth layout, like where do I like to be set up? I have never really cared too much where I'm set up. That also is more though because like my booth, like you walk into it to shop now. Some people like to be on a corner booth, depending again like on how you're set up. Um, I don't really have a preference. That's one thing though that I think you do just kind of you have to try all of them, kind of figure out where you do like to go. And then how soon in advance should you share on social media? Yeah, I feel like you can never overshare, especially with markets and stuff. So I like to, like I said, I like to do it at the beginning of the month. I'll go ahead and put together my highlight that'll get posted on my stories and everything, and it'll get pinned. And then I'll try to, you know, just with, especially with my daily, you know, story postings and stuff, I'll try to make sure that I am actively advertising that market. And then especially the week of that week following up to, I definitely feel like I go kind of heavy-ish with the advertising of it to try to share as much as possible. Yeah, so most of your market applications will have a spot for you to mark if you need electricity or not. Some markets will do an additional charge for that. Some won't, just depending on where the market is and what resources they need for it. So that's something, and then yeah, most markets will also give you the whole load in and load out instructions. How do you draw people into your booth? Well, my booth is basically a big gay rainbow, which just automatically draws everybody in, especially with my rubber ducks and stuff. But I will say, like, once I added the color and the ducks, people instantly come in. The children come in because of the ducks. And then the parents are like, well, I guess we'll go shop. And they're like, oh, that's actually a really cool product. I'm like, yeah, it is, I know. And then they shop. So yeah, drawing people in, you gotta figure out what your little niche is and go with it. Bubble machines are great. Some people don't like bubble machines. I love them. Music is one thing too that I have noticed a lot of people will play in their booths now, just to where it's loud enough, like in your booth. And that kind of makes it inviting. And then one thing that I love shopping in a booth that has a little area rug or something down. Like as soon as I see that rug, I'm like, that person put effort into their setup and everything. I'm gonna go over there. And that instantly draws me in.
Any other questions? It says payment. What's best?
Payment processing. My website is through Shopify. Shopify has a really great POS system that pulls inventory, so I'm never overselling on the website or anything. So I use Shopify for the payment processing and everything. They do take a transaction fee But if you're doing a website, especially, I feel like Shopify is kind of the go-to. I think Shopify is kind of the godmother of all of the apps and everything. Kim Kardashian uses Shopify. So if Kim Kardashian is using Shopify, then it has to be good. And I think with Shopify, I think I pay $25 a month for Shopify.
This question says, do you ever take orders in your booth of a product you don't have yet? I guess similar to your seasonal items.
If I know I'm going to be making it soon, I will take the order right then and there. If it is something that I'm like, it will be getting made, I'm not sure when, I tell them, I'm like, just follow me on social media and shoot me a message, and I will let you know when it's being made so you can order it. I've done it before where I'm like, oh, like especially my shower steamers are a number one thing. And I've sold out of them, and they're like, oh, can I order some real quick? And then I've had people order it, and then I've forgotten to ship it to them or deliver it to them or something. So it just, for me, with my ADD self and everything, I try to make it as easy as possible. So I don't do as many like in-person orders. I usually just tell them, like, keep an eye on social media and you'll see when it's getting restocked. Or I do pre-buys all the time for my stuff too. Especially like my shower steamers that I know are going to be popular. That way you can like reserve your thing of them. Yeah, so custom, I think you would just have to, I would try it, take some of your examples of some stuff. And then I think that I've never seen somebody that like solely did custom in there. But I would give it a go. I would try the Old City Market, I think would be a great place to try that out.
Any last questions?
I feel like the Jeopardy theme music needs to be on for
Yeah.
this.
Da, 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 da. Awesome. Well, Josh's email is over on the slide, and I will put my email address in as well. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, then feel free to email us and just stay in touch. And also, if you're not, if you don't get the Maker City newsletter that comes out every other week, and that's all types of opportunities as well in there, and just different markets that are going around or things going on in the community. So definitely check that out if you're not getting that in your inbox. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out tonight, you guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, and thanks, Josh. That was great.
Anytime, had a blast. Sorry that my dogs are crazy. Their trazodone has kicked in now at the very end.
Yeah, perfect.
Next time I'll just be giving it to them a lot earlier, I guess.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Well, we will see everyone next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.